Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to finish up the Boss Hog Cadillac that we did the rust patina on. I finally found some wheels, I think. Had this Mini Cooper listed on eBay for a long time. Nobody seemed interested in buying it, and I really didn't need it for my collection, so we're going to take the wheels. I got the drill out. We'll drill the post, salvage the wheels. I'll find some other wheels to put on it, use it for something. Well, we're going to paint the interior in the Cadillac, swap the wheels. Who knows? We might do even more than that. See where it goes. Got to paint the tail lights in. Some little details. On another note, the box behind you that you see, that's going to be our next diorama build. Pretty good size space. We'll probably make another car shop or something, kind of like this one over here. So we got that. It's going to be coming up in another video. If you missed the first video on putting the rust patina on the Cadillac, I'll put a link at the end of this video so you can check that out if you want to. Also, found some more generic cars. These are part of a lot that I got for Christmas. The end car is not a generic car. This is a nice Hot Wheel, but it's a little banged up, and I don't really care for the color. So, pardon me, don't really care for that color. So, we're going to go ahead, not in this video, but we're going to add these to our collection back here for the diorama that we're going to do on a junkyard. We're starting to get a lot of pieces adding up here, but I like to make large dioramas, so we'll see where that one goes. I don't think we have nearly enough stuff yet, but we're getting there. Still got to build a crusher. Alright, let's get back to the Mini Cooper and the Boss Hog Cadillac. I think these wheels should look good on there. We're going to go ahead and crack this one open and take a look. It's a nice premium matchbox. I had it listed at a nice price. I'm surprised nobody wanted it. Got the nice box to go with it and everything. Too bad we're going to ruin it by taking the wheels. Find some other wheels for it. Not a bad looking car. Nobody wanted it this way. I doubt they're going to want it with some plastic wheels. Maybe I'll find some kind of rubber tires to put on it. Who knows? Anyway, they're coming off. Got the drill out, and we're going to do that next. Gotta be gentle. I don't want to bend this axle if I can avoid it. Might be able to use it. There we go. Just chipped away at those little plastic pieces till it was freed up. Alright, we got our wheels for the Cadillac. Not sure what we'll do with the Mini. Maybe put it in the junkyard, who knows? It's a possibility. I think the wheels are going to look good on our Cadillac, hopefully. Alright, I never really thought to see how they're going to fit with the original post, original axle. Looks like they might be, axles probably a little long. We'll probably have to shorten these axles. But that's no big deal. If you look at the bottom of the Cadillac, the mounting posts are quite different. They're just flat. They don't have a divot for your drill bit to rest in. So it might be a little bit trickier to drill these. I don't know. First time I've had to do it. Well, I didn't want to record the drilling because it's just slow and boring. But the plastic on the Cadillac is so old and brittle. Had a little bit of an accident. But that's no big deal. Worst comes to worst, I'll steal the chassis off of another one. But just to show you, little mistakes happen. But nothing a little super glue can't fix. We'll move on to the front one. As you can see, I'm starting to get a divot here. If you're drilling on a flat surface like this where it didn't have a divot, you can put your drill in reverse and it'll keep the bit from walking around till you get a spot started. Then you should be good to go. Alright, I finally got the Cadillac chassis off from the body. Take this interior out. We'll wash that and paint it. Same with the windshield. We'll take it out and clean it. See if we can get it cleaned up. A little bit of touch up to do on the body, and then we'll do a satin spray finish over this. Moving along pretty well. Before I do anything else, I'm going to take the piece that broke off the back and super glue it back on. There's two pieces. And repair that. For that, I'm just going to use some gel super glue. Down a little bit on there. And just hold it into place so it dries. Alright. Alright, I got the pieces glued on there. I'm going to apply a little extra super glue on the top here. Without the metal burrs that got in it. Alright, I'm going to put that extra in there, and I'm going to sprinkle some baking soda over it. Help it cure faster and dry harder. And that should give us a much better bond. Might as well apply a little bit to the bottom as well. Alright, we'll set that aside to dry, then we'll dust it off and we'll touch up the chassis when we're done. And we'll take the wheels off when it's dry. Alright, super glue's dry. There's nothing really holding the wheels in, especially on the back. That one just came right out. And this one came right out. Remember, these older ones like this, the plastic is fragile, so be careful drilling and be careful removing the wheels. Our next step is to take this little bump that sits up here. We're going to get rid of those bumps because we're going to put a different type of axle in. We'll probably use a Dremel tool for that. Alright, I just want to make it flush with the bottom of the floor pan. I don't want to make any divot if I can avoid it. I'm going to use a Dremel tool. Just shave a little bit off slowly. I recommend wearing a face mask and eye protection when using one of these. One, because it stinks, and two, you don't want this thing shattering in your face. Wouldn't be a bad idea to wear gloves as well. I just don't do it very often. That's good. It's pretty flush. Might hit it one more time if we need to. Do the same thing in the front. Alright, I think I removed enough material here. Front's a little different. I have to hit it at another angle. Alright, I've got a flat space in there for our new axle to rest on. Alright, now's a good time to do a test fit and see just how it's going to look. Axles are definitely going to need to be shortened. I wish I could take the front end down some, but the tire's almost touching the fender already. Might be able to get it to go down a little bit in the front. A lot of room looks like in the back. Probably drop the back down closer to the ground. But there's a little sneak peek of what it's going to look like. Alright, let's move on. Alright, our next step will be to cut these axles in half since we're going to shorten them. And for that I like to use these wire cutters. They work well for lots of things. Try to estimate the center as much as possible. And cut it. I like to just cup my hand and catch them both. Do the same with the other. Try to find the center best as possible. And then, there we are. We got our 4 separate wheels. Axles cut in half best that we could. Next, a lot of people use different things for their axles. I like to use what you see here is a straw on the end of a can of WD-40. You can find these on eBay. I found somebody that sells them on eBay. I bought like 100 of them. But this is what I use for my axles. Your axle will slide right in there. They can be cut to any length. You just glue it in there and use this as an axle. There's a nice tip for you. A new thing to try maybe. Works great for me. I've also used these for suspension parts. They're flexible and they retain their shape well. They go back. But if you use something heavy, it will relax and stay. It will stay bent if you use something heavy. But it's perfect for axles. Let's move on. These little tubes from the WD-40 are real easy to cut as well. What we want to do is get the distance in between these 2 side rails. I'm just using my thumb as a gauge and then cut it. I've put a little mark here where I believe it's going to be. And then you want to place it flat on a table. Try to cut these as square as you can. So you have a little piece like this. If it's not square, you can take your knife and trim it up and make it square. If it's too long, you can trim a little off. If it's too short, you probably want to start over. This one's a little long, so I'm going to have to take some off, I think. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to mark these, so a lot of times I cut them a little too long and just keep trimming some off till it fits in there. But that's not where it's going to sit, but that's how it's going to fit. So we'll go ahead and if it fits in the front, you can check and see if it fits in the back or vice versa. If they're both the same size, you can use the other one as a pattern. These appear to be the same size. So I'll just place this one next to that one, use it as a pattern. And there now I have two the same size. What we're going to do is place them right in the center where the axle should go and do a test fit and see if we can adjust them up or down any to adjust the stance of the vehicle. Alright, trying to test fit those little pieces can be tiny and time consuming. They're so little they just slip out of your hands. So this is another reason I save all my parts. What you want to do is get two old axles, go all the way to the end and cut one of the flat part off that holds the wheel on. So you've got a whole axle. You just slide those two wheels off. Now you can just place this on the rod and it gives you a little something better to hold on to. And you can also use this rod to make sure you've got it centered up where you want it. So you might want to make two rods, one for the front and back, just to help you hold it and to help line it up square when we go to glue it in place. So I'll go ahead and cut another one. I should have cupped that with my hand. I don't know if you guys heard it, but that went flying across the room and hit something. So keep that in mind. If you don't have eye protection on, you take a risk of this shooting back and hitting you in the face or something. So keep that in mind. Or try to cup it with your other hand to catch it. Just to show you again how the two rods will help you guide it into place right where you want it. We're not going to attach them yet because we might need to adjust the stance up or down. But this is part of the process, so you've got your two pieces there. We'll take the axles out for now and just set them to the side, but save them for when we go to mount. Now we're just going to want to put one wheel on here. Place it in here with one wheel on it and try to put it back together. You might need a piece of tape to hold it down or something to do a test fit. We'll grab some tape. Alright, first thing I noticed right off the bat, if we want the wheels to go in deeper so the car sits lower in the back, there's these little white pegs sticking out from the interior. Those are going to stop the wheel from going any. We don't have much room to go till we hit the plastic in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't even know if it's worth trying to lower the car any, but I'm going to cut those two pegs out just in case we can lower the car some. And for that I'm just going to use the wire cutters. Snip them off. We should gain some clearance in the back just by getting rid of those. Alright, as I'm looking at the front here, I'm noticing when I place that red tube in there, I'm already bringing it up higher than the factory wheels would have been. And there wasn't much room at all till the tires hit the front fenders. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this front one into place, because I know it's not going to go up any higher. If anything, it may have to go lower. Then we'll just take it back out and make space for that. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this front one first. For that, we want to take our axle that we used from the plastic wheels, position this around the middle, take some of our gel super glue, apply it in the middle on the chassis, and then put this right on top of the glue. Using the axle as a guide to keep it straight and to hold on to it. Just a little bit of glue. Alright. Keep an eye on it periodically as it dries in case it needs adjusted. I think I've got it lined up right where I need it right now. At this point, I'm going to set it down for a few minutes and just let it dry. We could apply some baking soda and make it dry immediately, but I'm not sure at this point if it's going to need adjusted or not, so I don't want to make it too permanent. Since I'm waiting on the axle to dry, I'll take this time to get out my sanding deglosser liquid. I'm going to use this to clean the interior with. This is a great product to use on any previously painted surfaces that you're going to paint again. And it's a good cleaner. I don't know if it's going to help bond to the plastic, but it helped bond to other paints. But getting the dirt off of the plastic is important for our paint to stick. So I'm going to go over it with this and clean it up. See if I can get some of the dirt off. We're going to paint the interior red, but I still want to clean it first. And this may help our next coat of paint bond a little bit. After I've gone over it with a couple Q-tips and scrubbed it real good, I'm going to rinse it off in the sink and dry it with a rag. Doesn't appear like all these stains are going to come off, but that's okay. We're going to paint it, and we got the surface dirt off. I'm going to go rinse it. I'm not going to use the liquid deglosser on the windshield. We don't want to lose any shine on the windshield. I'm just going to clean it with regular soap and water at first and see how that goes. Alright, you can see all the staining didn't come off, but I got the surface dust out of there and things, so it's ready to paint. I think our axle's dry enough to do a test fit with the wheels we're going to use. I want to slide the body on there and make sure that they're going to spin. I'm feeling it may hit the front fenders. Alright, right off the bat, as I try to put it together, these two pieces of metal that are sticking up, just like on the interior seats, those are not letting me put it back together. So anytime you do wheel swaps, you play this game back and forth, fitting, taking it apart, fitting it, taking it apart, cutting stuff out of the way, sanding stuff out of the way. So next we got to get rid of those two pieces. We can use the Dremel tool, or we can use the wire cutters possibly. I'm going to try the wire cutters simply because they will be faster. Try to just bend them off. Or cut them. Cutting them seems to be faster. I think that gives us the clearance. Again, you heard that piece go flying, so if you're using the cutters, watch your eyes. Alright, it fits. It fits. But it feels like it is going to touch the fender. That could be a problem. We can sand some of this material out, maybe. I don't know how much. We'll see. We might have to make the axle go down a little bit. I knew there wasn't much room to play. So close. We'll try sanding some of the fender out with the Dremel tool and see if we can get enough clearance without going through the hood. Alright, here comes the tricky part. Need to take a little bit of material out underneath the hood for that tire to spin properly. For that, I'm going to use the Dremel tool. Time to do a test fit. Time to do a test fit. I think we got it. Looks like it's going to work. I'm going to take a little bit more off and then do some on the other side. In case anyone was wondering, I'm not putting hardly any pressure against that blade. I'm letting the blade do all the work. Alright, now that I know the axle is where I wanted it to be, I put some glue, more glue, and sprinkled this baking soda on there to make sure it stays in place. I'm not going to rely on that to hold it forever. I'm going to mix up some JB Weld and apply over top of that before we're done to make sure it probably will never come back off. But the next step will be go ahead and put our two front wheels on. And for that, we may have to trim the axle once again. We want it to be right in the middle of our red piece. It looks like we need to take a little bit off to get in the center there. We want to test fit everything before you glue it. So I'm going to cut some more off. You can do a little bit at a time until you get to the middle. I would say it's just a little bit. You got to have them meet in the middle, because when you put the other side in, you got to be enough room for them both to share that space. That looks good for this side. For that, we just want to put a dab of glue on the end of this. Make sure you do not get any on your rim or anywhere else but other than the tip of this metal, or it will ruin your wheel. Place it in there. And then just let it sit for a few minutes. I don't even want to mess with it. We'll do the other side in a couple minutes. Alright, I did a little bit more and I'm even happier with it. Looks like it's going to roll fine. Just got to do the driver's side next. If for some reason you applied the glue on there and the wheel comes back out, you can take the Dremel tool and shave some of the red where you see on the plastic we use. Gently shave a little bit off in the middle till you see the axles, then apply some more glue directly to the axle and it won't come back out. But I've only had them come back out maybe once or twice, and I've done lots of these. Just a matter of re-gluing it. Since we're waiting for that wheel to dry, I think I'll go ahead and mix up some of our red paint for the interior. I don't want it to be this color. I kind of want a burgundy color. See if a little bit of black will hopefully give us what we want, or what I want. I'll mix that up and then we'll start painting the interior. Alright, that's the color I came up with. I hope it looks good. You can always paint it again if you don't like it. Alright, that's good for the first coat. I also noticed when we had the car apart, alright, the car's dry enough, the chassis is dry enough to handle. This other wheel is going to need trimmed, just like before. Make sure you do a test fit before you apply any glue. That looks good. Just a small amount of glue. Make sure not to get it on the rim. And again, just lay it somewhere to dry. You don't really want to mess with it too much. Just set it down to dry. Alright, we got our front wheels in there. They seem to roll good, like that. Now what we got to do now is get our back wheels on. Alright, just like before, we're going to take our trimmed axle piece that we have, use that to hold our trimmed up WD-40 tube. Put a little glue where you want it. Place it in the glue. Use your rod as a guide. Looks nice and straight to me. Now I'm just going to let it sit there for a few minutes to dry. Since I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to be, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle the baking soda over the rear axle to speed up the process a little bit. Just like earlier, just sprinkled it on there. And dump it right back in the container. I can see a little bit of glue oozing out on the bottom. Might as well put some there as well. Alright, now that should be good enough in a few minutes to put our back wheels on. Alright, it seems to be dry enough. Just like I showed you before, we want to cut the axle so it rests in the middle of the tube. Looks like about a 1/16 of an inch should probably come off of this one to start out with. Actually, that one should have a little bit more come off. Just a teeny bit. That appears to be about the middle. So we'll go ahead and glue this one on. Just a little bit of glue on the end of your axle, just like before. Don't get any on the rim. Try not to get any on the chassis. You don't want to fuse the rim to the chassis either. Alright, now just let it sit somewhere for a few minutes to dry. Like so. Again, just a small amount of glue. Try not to get any on your chassis. I always take some kind of pen or something and make sure I've got that pushed in all the way. Alright, just needs to sit and dry, and that part should be finished. Alright, as I was doing a test fit, just like in the front, we had to grind some material away. We're going to have to grind some material away in these back quarter panels as well. Almost marked out for us. Alright, that seems to be enough for the wheel to spin. Remember, whatever you do on one side, you're going to have to do on the other. So I'm going to move on to the other side. Alright, got the wheels on there. It rolls nice and smooth, just like it should. All we got to do is get our interior painted, touch up our patina, and then spray a satin finish over it. I washed the windshield. It's going to have to work for now. But we do have a successful wheel swap. Turned out very nice. Alright, hopefully we can get the rest of it put together in this video if it hasn't gotten too long. Alright, I'm still waiting for the interior to dry. At this time I'd like to take some thin down flat black and a small artist brush and put some black pigment over the front headlights and grille. See if we can get some more detail out of it. Might have to do a couple washes, but wanted to show you that. This is something we can do while we're waiting for stuff to dry. Alright, I think we can paint the second coat on the red for the trim, or interior. Alright, looks like the last thing to do is paint our taillights in and then we can put a satin finish on this body. Alright, we'll let this dry. Alright, we're ready to put our last step on the body, and that's going to be this Minwax clear satin finish in a spray can. Works good. I've used it several times. All kinds of things you can use, but this is what we're using today. Not a product placement, but what we're using. Alright, whenever using a spray paint or any kind of spray finish, especially polyurethane or oil-based, use it in a well-ventilated area and shake it up real good. That's good enough for one coat. You want to apply it in light coats. If you put too much on, you're going to have runs and it's going to look terrible. So take your time, do 2 to 3 coats. We'll probably let this dry about an hour in between coats, maybe less, depends on how cold the room is. Alright, now that I'm waiting on the satin finish to dry on the body, this would be a good time to finish up the interior. I'd like to paint this cover that covers the convertible top. I'm going to paint that a gloss white. If you don't have gloss white, satin white would look good too. I guess any color, it's up to you, but I feel like it would probably have some kind of leather cover so it would have a little bit of a sheen. This is just regular acrylic house paint. I get these containers from a home food delivery service, and a lot of the stuff comes in these containers. Rather than throw them away, I fill them up with paint. This can take a couple of coats. Sometimes white doesn't cover very well. There's some scarring on the plastic from where this car was so badly abused. Alright, that's going to take 2 coats. We'll let that dry. Alright, it's ready for the second coat. Just like the first coat, just a light coat. Alright. The satin finish is dry enough for us to put the windshield and now all the pieces back together. Got a nice looking finish with that satin on there. And I went ahead and painted the white around the roof cover again. That took 2 coats. Alright, you see they dropped in there pretty good. Put our chassis on. Right. It got a little beat up when I drilled it out, so probably use JB Weld to hold it together, especially since the chassis cracked. Well, before we JB Weld it, I'll super glue it first and then apply the JB Weld over that. because the JB Weld takes a long time to dry. This, on the other hand, doesn't take very long, and then I could add the baking soda and speed the process up as well. Sorry, I got out of the frame there. I'm just putting the baking soda over top of the wet glue. We'll do the same thing to where the back post got drilled out. A little bit of glue. Alright, it's that simple. I'll touch up the paint on the bottom, and then we'll take it for a test spin as soon as we get back. Alright, there it is with the new wheels, the new interior. Totally different finish. You can see the black wash on the grill and stuff. Look how dirty looking. I think we made ourselves a barn fine Cadillac. And you know what? It rolls really, really good. It rolls fantastic. I'm going to take it in the other room where we get a little better background and do another shot. And I'm going to call this one finished. Well, here it is. Now you guys know how to put on the patina, and you know how to do the wheel swap. All you gotta do is follow the video. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found the information useful. And most importantly, I hope you hit the subscribe button and come back and watch some more videos. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.